Why is Soi Fon so hated within the Bleach community? Welcome back, everyone. Today's video I'll be discussing Soi Fon from Bleach. She's the second division captain of the Gotei 13 and actually one of my favorite characters in the Bleach anime. So please, if Soi Fon is your favorite like mine, stick around. Soi Fon, like I said, is the second division captain of the Gotei 13. She is also the commander of the Stealth Force and one of the most, in my opinion, one of the more stronger captains in the series. Unfortunately, she's plagued by, I guess, not having enough showings of her abilities and playing second fiddle to Yoruichi, who, again, no knock to Yoruichi, but in my opinion, we've yet to really see her at her full capabilities, but we know Yoruichi is a powerful combatant. And unfortunately, Soi Fon is overshadowed by her and seen as her lesser. So in this video, I just want to break down why I feel like she is severely underrated, and I feel like she's actually due more credit than she is given. Point blank, just putting it out there, Soi Fon worked to her position from the ground up. She didn't come from a noble family. She did come from maybe like a side branch family with, they weren't like really noble. Like the Fon family were basically mercenaries for hire, or just mercenaries like at birth. Like that's what they were born to do. But she was not born with that innate higher spiritual pressure. As you guys all know, the four noble houses, the ones that we've been introduced to, are the Shihouin, the Shiba, Kuchiki, and I believe there's one more. Forgot the name. But actually there's five, so I'm forgetting two noble families. Sorry. But the point that I'm making is she did not have that extra oomph or that extra thing that would set her aside from ordinary soul reapers. However, she worked herself from the ground up and was able to actually not only become a captain, but also bridge the gap that when Yoruichi left, it left the entire Stealth Force division and the second division in disarray, and she actually brought order back into both the division and the Stealth Force. And I think it's a testament to her skill and her ability to lead. What's really interesting about her character when we were first introduced to her is she's seemed as she's very serious, very stoic, very law-abiding, but there's a childish nature about her. And honestly, I feel like Soi Fon's reactions are very organic compared to the other captains. And honestly, I feel like Soi Fon would probably be one of the more realist characters in the show, because I feel like some of her reactions are very appropriate to what's going on. And you see that a lot towards the Thousand Year Blood War arc, where Soi Fon, her personality almost reverts back to how it was back when Yoruichi was still a captain, right? And I feel like Soi Fon has been masking that side of her. And as she matures and as she grows as a character and as a captain, that side of her, I think, will start to simmer down a bit. It's almost like Soi Fon has like this very like tough, serious exterior, but on the inside, she is a very emotional, sensitive, and vulnerable person, right? And getting back to why I feel like she is probably one of the more powerful characters, let's make no mistake, Soi Fon has one of the most powerful Shikais in the show. If she hits you twice in the same spot, you're dead. And we also find out that it doesn't necessarily need to be in the exact same spot. It could be like if she stabs you in your chest and then stabs you in the same point in your back, that also counts. We saw that against her fight with Gio Vega. And in my opinion, somebody fast like her tagging you like that is OP. And the only time we get to see Soi Fon really fight is against Yoruichi, which in my opinion, I know people say Yoruichi was holding back. I don't think she was holding back as much as she'd like us to believe. I think Soi Fon legit had her on the run, and in my opinion, forced Yoruichi into using Shunko, because that was the only way she was going to get away from Soi Fon Suzumebachi, if you want my honest opinion. I don't think had she not used Shunko at that moment, I think Soi Fon would have won that fight. And honestly, she needed to lose that fight anyway, because I think that her being able to kind of break down and finally get all that emotion and trauma off of her chest, because make no mistake, Yoruichi leaving the way she did without even so much as communicating with Soi Fon was traumatizing and not a very nice thing to do, especially considering how Soi Fon devoted her entire life to Yoruichi and Yoruichi just bounced. Mind you, I love Yoruichi as a character, but come on now, like you could have at least wrote Soi Fon a letter, been like, hey girl, some stuff went down, Aizen's on some bullshit, I gotta disappear with Urahara for about 100 years, but you know, when the time comes, I'll let you know what's going on, right? That's all she had to do, and Soi Fon, I think, would have been very chill about it. But no, Yoruichi just like vanished, so Soi Fon was left to her vices. And the other fight that we get from her is her fight against Baragon, and honestly, Baragon, I've said this in a previous video, I feel like Baragon should have been the first Espada just based on how OP his ability is. I believe it's called Senescence, which is, again, it's time, it's death. I'm sorry, but like Suzumebachi is not going to be able to do anything about versus someone whose entire element, or I guess entire domain, is death and time. So it was kind of a mismatch. We did get, however, get to see the debut of her Bankai, which again is a freaking nuke. And I'm not sure what the properties are of the nuke. I would imagine it's just like a huge, almost like a keto type Zanpakutō, where it's like a huge, like I guess keto based explosion, and maybe there's some spiritual pressure situation in there that would amplify it, but it's still a very cool concept. And I think that her Bankai, because they say that the Shikai and Bankai are a reflection of the Soul Reaper's soul, I think that the duality between her Shikai being very, you know, again, stealthy, serious, quick, straight to the point, whereas her Bankai is very loud, explosive, you can't conceal it, is the duality of Soi Fon's personality. And I think Kubo did a great job of illustrating that with her Bankai and her Shikai abilities. And again, I could be reaching, but I think that that's the point that he's trying to get apart. And you know, even when she was fighting BG9, we get to see, first of all, she got her Bankai stolen, and that's like a whole conversation for another video, because the 4 captains that got their Bankai stolen, I feel like they lost their Bankais for just so dumb. Like, Mayuri clearly said, don't use your Bankai until I give you the go ahead so we can get enough data. And what do? And Soi Fon specifically, I feel like maybe she had no choice, because BG9, I think we've understood, or we figured that he is inorganic. So I don't know, I think he's a robot or an android or something. I could be wrong. So her Shikai not working on him makes sense. And I think we've established that his ability is K, the knowledge. So I guess, you know, he's going to be able to adapt to anything. But it would have been nice to see their fight. I think she's the only captain out of those 4 that did not really get too much of a side arc. She did train on her own though, and during that training she was able to perfect her Shunko, which I believe in the anime they call it Miyuko Shunko, which I believe translates to Eternal Shunko, which her element when she's using Shunko is wind, which again I think is very fitting because she's swift, she's fast. I think it makes sense, and it complements well with Yoruichi Shunko, which hers is more lightning based. I wish we had more time with her Eternal Shunko, but what we did get to see, I mean, Mama was catching bullets with her hands. She was moving extremely fast. Her punches have a lot of like force to them, a lot of power to them. Unfortunately though, after her fight with BG9, she literally vanishes from the manga. We don't really see much from her. Actually, I know we're a little late in this video, but I completely missed a good chunk of her behavior in the 1000-Year Blood War arc. Soi Fon was definitely having panic attacks, anxiety attacks, lashing out on people, and it was very unbecoming of a Stealth Force captain. However, considering they just lost their figurehead, which is Head Captain Yamamoto, he's served for over 1,000 years, and no one can see him or be his equal in battle, and the fact that he did die, I feel like her outburst, albeit inappropriate and unbefitting of her title, was very warranted. And I almost feel like Kamamura and Shinji and basically like some of the captains that chastised her were kind of gaslighting her. Like, they were all having freakouts, they just didn't voice it like she did. I'm not saying it's okay, but you know. Same thing with her interactions with the Squad Zero. I feel like Soi Fon asked a very valid question. While we were getting ragdolled and you guys were just chilling up in the Soul Palace, like, what were you guys doing? Maybe she shouldn't have been the one to ask the question, but again, valid. That being said, Soi Fon is still one of my favorite characters. I love her design. Her design is immaculate head to toe. I love her English and Japanese voice actresses. I feel like they do a great job of just making her fierce, strong. She has aura about her. And yeah, she can be a little obnoxious, but there are far worse characters in the series, and Soi Fon is not even like close to being on that list. That being said, I know this was a long-winded video, but I wanted to give my girl Soi Fon some love. What do you guys think? Why do you guys think that the Bleach community throws her so much shade? Especially in a series where, in my opinion, I feel like the female character is actually written very well. There isn't really a bad female character, with the exception of maybe Otohime, and I that's only because I think we want to see Otohime fight, and that's just not her personality type. But yeah, why do you guys think that Soi Fon gets so much hate? Let me know in the comments. As always, I do Bleach content. I'm currently doing full character analysis of Castlevania Nocturne. If you guys are into that kind of thing, I would love to get into more in-depth character discussions about Bleach characters, so let me know who you guys want to hear about next. I have a Kaname Talisman video that's doing really well. People are starting to notice it and react to it, so if you want to check that out, I'll have it linked in the description as well. And yeah, as I always say, thank you guys so much for stopping by my channel. Have a great week, and I'll see you in the next upload.